Hello, we're having a paint with me Sunday, and I am here with my Sumi ink, and I have got it in a little cup and some plain water, and I am starting out using some rice paper that was made for ink calligraphy. It was made for this type of ink in particular. And I'm just going to do a few little sketches of the flower pots that are over yonder. They are empty because the squirrels will just dig out whatever's in them. But I'm going to paint them. So, getting my brush wet. This is the brush that I'm using, a nice long round pointy tip. It is synthetic bristles. And yeah, so there you go. I'm dipping my paintbrush right directly into the ink. I'm not diluting at all. I'm just going to make a few confident strokes. And already I am thinking those strokes weren't what I was thinking of, but that's okay. This is a little warm-up. I just want to enjoy using ink and paper and making marks. Okay, so far this is this quick little thing. Doesn't look like much, but it's reminding me how good it feels to put ink down on paper. And I'm liking the dry brush. The dry brush as much as the washes on this paper. And now I'm just putting water only to make some lighter color areas. And there we go. So I'm just playing with tones here. I'm not worried about creating a masterpiece. This is not going to be a masterpiece. But I feel like I've warmed up well. I've made some bold marks. Now I'm going to use cold press watercolor paper. This is small. I don't usually use paper that's this small. I tend to draw things in the scale that I see them. But I'm just going to see, if I start with this, where will the composition end up on this paper? And I am going to start with a more diluted brush this time. And kind of start with the smaller pot. You couldn't tell it from my other painting, but there's a smaller pot and a larger pot. And I'm being a little more careful with my strokes now because I've decided I care. I've decided I want it to end up looking a certain way. And the tone that I'm getting is a nice kind of darker mid-tone gray. filling out the areas of shadow that I can see on the pot. And I'm making the ink darker now to reflect the fact that there is some dark earth in that pot with a few little leaves on it. And I also want to make some more obvious depth underneath the rim. This is what we have so far. And now I'm going to take the same darker tone, kind of build up the darker shadows from the larger pot. And I'm going to paint into that top line a bit, because I'm liking the toned areas better than I'm liking the lines that I made. So maybe I'll just create the tones, and if I want lines later I can add them. And this larger pot really is quite a lot larger, so I'm going to reflect that in my composition this time. Try to keep narrating as I draw. There's some soil in this pot as well. It's kind of tipped up a little bit, so the perspective is not really as I might expect. So now I want to do a much lighter wash around the outside to kind of define the shape a little bit. And of course my inner critical voice is going, "That's not good enough, don't show people." But it's not terrible. And frankly, this is fun. I'm doing this for fun. I do like what I have so far as there's darks, there's midtones, and there's lights. And I kind of like the relationship of the two objects. It almost seems like one is protecting the other. And now I am adding some details in to see if I can capture what I actually like about the real pot in life, what I like looking at it for. I like how it has these ridges on the inside. I like the delicacy of the rim, and I think that I'm just gonna bring the edge of that in a little bit. It's possible that this is just not going to look to me the way it does in life, and that's okay. It's really just meant to be kind of an exercise in using the material and seeing what kind of combination of tones and lines that I can achieve with the ink at hand. Now I'm adding dark over dark to see how much I can define that way. I really keep wanting to go over the shape of the rims. It must be the thing that is catching my eye as I look at them in person. The shape of the pots themselves kind of remind me of drums. And some crows have now joined me as well. All right, so that is coming together. That is starting to be a little bit more like the painting in my mind. I always have this idea of what it's going to be before I start, and then sometimes I end up with something that is like that, and sometimes I do not. And again, it's totally fine with wherever I end up with these, because the point is to do this. Yeah. This is kind of a small piece of paper. And if you're wondering, I'm wiping off my brush on this little cotton pad. It's a really nice one, I think. And twisting it around and making a nice point to point. So I think I might actually stop here. What do you think? Would you have stopped here? Would you have stopped earlier? Grab some ink and show me what you did.